There's no point having 1,000 agents when I don't have the time to meet 1,000 agents.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of our Win Together Mentor series. Today we have with us Daniel Lee, one of the key leaders within SRI, and we will be speaking to him to learn about his insights of being a mentor, a leader, and also the aspects and the culture of his team.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel Lee. I'm a project cluster head in SRI as well as an associate senior district director.
Right, so maybe you can share with us how long have you been in this trade? Because everybody start off the trade by wanting to become a salesperson to make money into the trade. And then how did your first downline come about, at which year, and how many people have you grown to at the current stage?
My first downline came about, I think, roughly about 2 years into the trade. That was one of my friends from school. So of course, naturally, the first person that will join you would naturally be the circle of friends that are around you. So that was my first downline, and I didn't recruit aggressively, so to speak, along the way. It was more of knowing people and then, rubbing off each other, and that's when they get to know you, how you operate, and then that's where they have confidence in you and wanting to join you. So my team grew at a rather considerable, moderate rate. So it was 1, and then it became 3, and then every year there was about a couple that was joining, and until I think in 3 years ago, when we left our previous agency, it was a strength of 25, if I'm not wrong. Thereafter coming to SRI, the numbers grew actually quite tremendously. So from 25, I think now at the current moment, 3 years into SRI, I think the figure is coming to 60 at the current moment.
Yeah, hitting 60.
Yeah.
So you grew to 60. Wow, that's about 3 times the growth in about 3 years of joining SRI. So very interesting to ask, because from what you say at the start of the career, you're not really aggressive into recruitment, but people join in maybe organically through. Were you then naturally put into a leadership role and you have to become a leader overnight, or you had a passion about teaching to groom people?
Passion-wise, I think definitely every leader out there will have. So that's a very important criteria, I would think, of being a leader in the first place.
Agree.
Yeah. So then thereafter, it would be, I think for myself, would be the sense of achievement that you get out of seeing your agent hit the targets that he wants to achieve, go places where they want to go, buying that thing that he wanted to buy for many years, or even getting married, having kids, etc., setting up families. So I think that's the part and parcel of the whole leadership role.
The satisfaction
that you get.
So when your team grew from 20 to 60, right? I would say that from somebody who is growing organically, it becomes that you now have to enter into a full-fledged leadership role, because 60 is not a small number anymore. And it has grown 3 times in 3 years. I would say that is there a transition that you felt you moved into as a leader?
Yes, because when it was 3, it was pretty much easy to handle because you only have 3 persons to meet.
Yeah.
And the frequency of meeting your agents would be much higher. But now with 60, I mean, if you do the math, if you meet 2 in a week, that will take you 30 weeks to meet your whole team, and then per pax will probably be able to meet you a couple of times in the whole year, right? So I think the frequency has definitely dropped a lot for the individuals. So it's on my end to actually manage my own time to see how much or how I can actually balance this to be fair to all of the agents that actually join me.
So if you say this, then I'm sure that because now the frequency has to drop because the number of packs increase, right? So what is something that you have done to actually counter this thing and still let your team be one of the top performing teams within SRI?
Okay, so basically I think I have to thank some of my own leaders within my group that have actually helped me a lot. So you guys know who you are. So we have cultivated a sense of a shared leadership role in DLG itself. So my time is mainly focused on helping the ones that really need the help.
Okay.
Of course, the newly joined ones.
Yep.
Those that are in and out. They want to come back and then start fresh. Get gear up to something that is more automated in terms of their marketing, in terms of their activities. Whereas there are those that are more independent.
Yep.
So that group of people will naturally come to me whenever they need the help. But on and off basis, or rather on a regular basis, they don't really require that much of an assistance. It's just a phone call away, can get it sorted. It's just a text away, which they will probably ask for advice on how to go about doing this, and that's where I come in. So in terms of physical meeting up, of course now with COVID and all, it's quite difficult. But in terms of meeting up, spending the quality time that you have with that individual, it's mainly to help the newer ones, like the bottom tier.
Yep.
Yeah. To go up to the next level.
So over these years of having your downlines, I'm sure you have different groups like new IAS, you mentioned, experienced agents. What are some very significant growth you have seen in your agents, like from blank piece of paper to making how much money? What is something that you are very satisfied with?
Okay, so of course, I would think there are a few individuals in my team itself that I'm pretty proud of their achievements. One being Brian Koo.
Brian Koo.
Brian Koo, one of my very first, I think it was my second downline. Yeah, so he followed me for coming to 8 years, I think, 9 years. Yeah, they're about 8 years. So back then, he was averaging about 80, 90 grand per year, and couldn't have that breakthrough doing his sales. So coming to SRI, in fact, this year when I was doing my monthly tracking of my agents in terms of their production, I was pretty happy and of course surprised as well to see him actually clock in a production of something that he had never done before.
Okay.
And when we had our Chinese New Year dinner this year, I remember I was speaking to him outside the car park of the restaurant, and I was saying, "Hey, bro, so what's the target you have for this year?" I mean, it's been like that for many years already, and then so we spoke about it and we set a target, and in fact, last month alone, he has already exceeded that target.
Okay.
So and this month he did pretty well as well. So I think by the end of this year, he would probably see something that he would never imagined before that he would be able to achieve in his whole career.
Yep.
So I'm pretty happy for him. So that's one. Second one would be Vincent Sim. So everybody knows Vincent Sim, right? It's one of the leaders that I told you about, that he's really, really helpful. So I think he has something alike amongst us in terms of we share that kind of passion, we share that kind of characteristic that we enjoy imparting our whatever we have in terms of knowledge, in terms of skill sets, into whoever that is joining us. Yeah. So he, for one, is one of the most consistent performers in my team alone. So every year it's been, hitting the figures that I would love for him to achieve. Yeah. And I really hope that maybe by the end of this year or by the end of next year, he will be able to hit something that he is something higher that he has set for himself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my question is, as a mentor to this group of agents, what positive impact you think you have put to them to allow that breakthrough in the recent years?
I think for one would be more on the marketing portion in terms of the how digital we have become. So for myself, I'm more of a digital person. So I explored a lot of different kind of ways of marketing online ever since the whole trend has been moving online. So back then when we were doing a lot of SMS blasting and whatnot. So there was a time when the whole market actually shifted online. So that's when I started to explore, and I think they are the kind of people too. So which is why we share in terms of knowledge, in terms of techniques, in terms of testing out this kind of new methods. And that's where the advantage that I brought to them, like in terms of this kind of skill sets. Yeah. And secondly, I think the next point would be I'm a numbers person, so I graduated with a degree in maths, so I'm into numbers, and I analyze a lot of trends in terms of statistics, in terms of market trends, and I think that's where I come in terms of giving advice to how we should be engaging the clients in terms of if they say, hey, how come, why do you think this product is good? And that's where I come in terms of giving them the advice on how to angle such an answer to them by giving factual stuff like data.
Okay.
Yeah.
So every time when we do on a day-to-day basis, we are always meeting new agents, whether is it new RES or experienced agents who have interest in joining us. So this one common question that will always come out. They'll ask, so why should I join you, and what is so unique about you that I should come to you and not other leaders in the industry?
I think if we talk about Brian and Vincent again, one of the reasons that they actually join me, would be the part on digitalization. So I have my strength and I have my weakness as well. So in terms of the strength wise, definitely that would be the digital aspect of it in terms of digital marketing. Secondly would be the analytical skills that I can bring to the table. And thirdly would be in terms of design, in terms of, for example, now if there are a lot of EDMs that you need to create, there are a lot of materials that you need to create in order to give the client a better picture of what you're trying to say. So that's where these are the three main points that I'm actually strong at.
So can I say the entire DLG of about 60 people, most of them or maybe all of them you are pushing them towards this digitalization of the real estate industry?
Yes. Of course, some of them may have their own, what do you call that? Concerns on digital marketing. Not all are open to that avenue. Of course, I try my best to encourage. It's not the right or wrong thing. If they are not able to, or they don't have the skill set to do so, that's where I come in to run the campaigns for them.
Right. Okay.
So that they just focus mainly on the ground.
So that means if I'm a tech dinosaur, I can't touch tech at all. And even if you teach me, I can't adopt it. You will run campaigns for me to generate leads for me in that sense. So I also realized that the industry have changed quite a bit. From tech now, we have generated leads, and of course the industry and consumers have become so knowledge-based in that sense. Do you also focus, does DLG also focus in that portion to ensure agents conclude the sale or value add to their customers in that area?
Yes, I think information is out there for every buyer. So so the key thing is how do you actually differentiate yourself from the other agents. Yeah. And that's that portion will come into play is that will be the follow-up portion really. So the follow-up portion has to be I think very strong in terms of the personal touch, in terms of knowing exactly what the client is trying to ask or what the client wants, instead of just feeding information repeatedly until the client gets a bit like, that's not what I'm trying to ask. So it's about knowing what the client's intention is, what he really wants to know, and giving that information that other agents would not be able to give.
Okay, so interesting to hear how you have used very technical aspects to groom your agents along the way. And I think digital is something that every agent in today's industry are very, very interested to know and to learn. So as a leader, as a mentor, there will be days where you need to self-motivate. And I know along the way, there will be downtimes that you will face, right? And can you share with us what are these downtimes and how do you overcome such low periods?
I think for one would be when you know that your agents have actually put in the hard work, taken your advice, my advice, to put in to execute based on what we have planned put in the hard work, put in the marketing dollars, and to see them actually unable to, or rather fall short of their targets, I think that would be quite, in terms of the motivation on my end, is to really push harder in terms of coming up with new solutions for them, reviewing how we should change any areas of their operations that we should change in terms of their follow-up, in terms of their marketing methods, and that is the motivation that keeps me going.
Right. Okay, so I have a final question for you. Our trade is never ending, even on sales. Every day we are chasing new targets and stuff. So there's no end point, there's no end goal. But I would like to ask this question. So have you thought about this, and what is the eventual goal of DLG? Because there are some leaders who target to say, I want to hit 1,000 agents. There are some people who say, I want to break through in terms of team production. What is that wish and the eventual goal that you have for DLG?
I think number is not a criteria for me. It's not saying that, of course, the more the merrier, right? When we are doing in terms of recruitment, in terms of a leadership role. But I think for me, it's more of the infrastructure rather than the numbers. There's no point having 1,000 agents when I don't have the time to meet 1,000 agents. There's no point having 1,000 agents when the knowledge and the skill set that you can impart to these people has not reached a certain level in terms of the quality. Yeah. So I think I would rather be able to spend more quality time to be able to pass on quality skill sets and information to whoever that whatever numbers that I have with me at any given point in time, rather than to rush it and to achieve that number, that figure, that X figure that I set for myself, and not being able to actually provide them with that kind of support. So I think, of course, I would love to grow. In terms of numbers wise, currently hitting 60. Hopefully, based on like I mentioned, I'm a math person. So based on that given rate over the past 3 years, by the end of next year, if I were to give a number, I would think I would be hoping to see maybe 100 agents, or maybe 90 plus 100 agents in terms of that rate. And I'm pretty sure, confident of being able to deliver in terms of the quality time and the quality knowledge and skill sets that I can pass on to whoever I'm going to recruit.
Okay, very good insight. So I think Daniel has shared very good insights with us today. Finally get to dig deep into the brains of DLG and how it's running. So if you all like what you hear today, I think to sum up what Daniel has shared, the entire DLG is very digital savvy. They focus a lot on digital methods and stuff. If you are a digital adopter and you want to continue to improve your skill sets in this aspect, DLG is a team that continues to research as a team on this area of marketing. And if you are somebody who lacks in digital and you want to learn, you can also come on board to learn. But if you're somebody who is a dinosaur and no matter how you learn, you can't catch this, they have systems where they will provide leads for you if you can't do it. So I think this is one very unique point about DLG. So if you like what you hear and you think this is the team that you want to be in, that is growing organically, not looking at exponential numbers in the shortest time, so that they can cope with the numbers that they have, do give Daniel a call. Drop him a DM, call him, or speak to his leaders. Find out a bit more than what we have shared in this past 10 minutes. Right, so thank you again, Daniel, for sharing with us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.